So it's a massive exposure of this Panamanian company which sets up offshore for money laundering, tax evasion. I think it's Putin.
He's tunnelling in.
It sounds like the building is trying to start itself up.
The alleged corruption with Mr. Putin. Number of his friends, he's probably never met any of them. Oh, he's gone. Most journalism doesn't end up with the Prime Minister resigning. But in Iceland, I mean, was it 10% of the population went out on the street? That'd be the equivalent of 5 million of us going up to Downing Street and saying, give us your dad's money back. It's just an idea.
He has not resigned. He has merely vacated the office of Prime Minister temporarily.
Oh, no, we've heard this before, Suzanne. Anyway, what's the man in Iceland called?
Sven?
I get a German on and he does the racist stereotypes.
It's just probabilities.
I can't help noticing there are a lot of extremely bald men in the news at the moment. So shall we play a game of whose bald bonce is this?
Yeah.
Right, teams, fingers on buzzers. Here's your first bald bonce. Who's that?
Ian Duncan Smith.
Yes, it is.
Hey.
Ian, you made him cry, didn't you?
I did. He suddenly started crying when he told me about this young girl who had no start in life and he wanted to help. And then people said, well, what did you do when he cried? Did you comfort him? And I said, no, it's Ian Duncan Smith.
You didn't tell Ian Duncan Smith you were related to him, did you? You didn't go, Daddy. You didn't do that.
Is it someone's knee?
I feel a bit hypocritical of this round.
You're not there yet, Ian.
Incredibly expensive. Funded through the BVI.
The first casualty of the scandal was Iceland's Prime Minister, who has been forced to resign. He's also in danger of having his assets frozen. Still, that's what happens if you go sunbathing in Reykjavik. Ronnie Corbett, that one's for you.
And there's the President of China.
Happy hour.
Yeah, David Cameron trying to do this man of the people bit like Nigel Farage and failing abysmally.
Yes.
What, you think Farage looks good with a pint? Or two?
Yeah, or
That's
two.
what this country needs, somebody who's always on the piss.
It worked for Churchill, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was up against different opposition, though. And thankfully we were allowed to make those remarks because we won.
Yeah, shouldn't have brought it up.
I was going to say you started it, but then...
No, they're a great bunch of people, UKIP, and I'm sticking with UKIP. Well, at least I hope, if they let me back in.
You're suspended for what, 6 months?
6 months.
Are you going to appeal?
I absolutely am.
Try and get a year?
Yeah.
Why is he so angry? He's a billionaire, he's got a lovely wife who loves him for his money. I mean, what is the...
This is the news that scientists think cats can pick up regional accents. Before we get into the enormous detail of this story, how do cats say meow in Germany, Henning?
Meow.
Are British meows under threat from Brussels, Suzanne? The scientists behind this claim actually come from Sweden. What noise do cats make in Sweden?
Sven?
Yes, some people think they saw the Loch Ness Monster. Here's footage shot from a Thames cable car.
Well, it's uncanny, isn't it?
What now goes by the less insulting nickname?
Fuckface McGee. It's the only one I can think of.
I know this one, I think.
Oh, go.
I tried to get very large sofa into tiny car.
Is the right answer. Grandpa attempting to what gets it horribly wrong?
Justify the bombing of Dresden?
But just before we go, there's time for the caption competition.
After a rare moment of honesty, Ian Hislop's career takes a downturn.
To be fair to the press, they have made it clear that they don't do kiss and tell stories anymore.
No.
They've learned their lesson from Levison.
Except during the period they had the Whittingdale story, they ran stories about Brooks Newmark, Tory MP you've never heard of, Simon Danchuk, every single jot and tittle of his sex life, they ran in full. They ran the Labour peer, his sex life, prostitute, the whole thing, except in the case of the man who's in charge of regulating the press and beating up the BBC, oh, we don't run that sort of story. We only run the stories about everyone else.
Which story is the press more interested in publishing but can't?
They are very interested in that celebrity couple and the threesome.
Yeah.
But that's
They're
a
very
story of
interested in
huge national interest.
But you see, that's the point. The point is, with the Whittingdale story, there's only 2 people involved. That's why they're not running it.
Do you want to name the people under the injunction? Go on. No, I think it'd be better coming from you.
We have more authority.
It would have a lot more authority. People would like it. Go on.
We don't know who they are, though in certain parts of the United Kingdom, the name has been revealed, which suggests that things are...
We're allowed to say the word Scotland.
It's Scotland.
But I mean, it would be interesting to find out, because obviously we're not going to say anything about it, but it'd be interesting to ask the audience if they know. Not say out loud, but just put your hand up if you know who we're talking about.
Whoa.
That's virtually everybody. So.
It's Ryan Giggs.
What potentially would be the punishment for breaking this injunction at this point?
Well, I think you'd be guilty of contempt of court.
Right.
And you'd be breaking an injunction, and that's a pretty serious charge.
You go to jail.
So those of us who've been guilty of it before are pretty damn wary.
Very well. You know this subject very well.
We'll get this story eventually, and everyone will go, oh, is it them? Oh, I thought they might be doing that. I did.
Well, as you said,
Are we thinking of the same people?
Last time there were super injunctions and injunctions with famous people, members of the House of Parliament got round it by just shouting out the names in the middle of debates. So you were having a debate about, I don't know, International Women's Day or fiscal attitudes to the United States, and you'd shout, Ryan Giggs! And everyone thought it was very funny, and it was privileged. But this time he said, everyone's going to behave, I'm not going to have people being silly and just shouting out the names of the celebrities. Yeah. So he's, as ever, rather ruined the fun.
UKIP activist Jack Neal posted a picture of himself on Facebook. Let's have a look. Yeah.
Ooh. Aye.
Now, but hang on. There's a perfectly good explanation, as usual, with UKIP.
Is he the culture secretary?
And he said, Mr. Neal suffers from acne. And as a result, he often wears facial masks to treat his skin.
That's the best I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Easily.
There's a huge spot on his nose by the look of it, so there might be some credence to his story.
It's after the watershed. You cannot be a dickhead and win a sports personality. Thank you, Clive.
What were you talking about?
Yeah, who was it?
I was talking about the boxer Tyson Fury.
That's right.
And I was not referring to him specifically out of my own mouth as a
No, because he'd come and hit you.
tête de bum. It's French for dickhead.
Call him
After
a
all this
dickhead.
blew up, my brother-in-law, he says to me, he says,
Yeah.
Clive, if you actually fought him in the ring, he beat you. As if that's a revelation to me. I mean, you know, the guy eats raw eggs, he runs 300 miles a day, and he's the boxing champion of the world. I read out aloud for a living. Hello, here's the news. Wouldn't work. Wouldn't work.
He does seem to have an awful lot of jobs. Member of Parliament, Mayor of London, columnist in this and that.
Telegraph, writer of books.
Yeah.
And he still finds time for all his extracurricular activities.
Allegedly.
No.
The sponsor...
What is the ghostly vision that Mr. Cameron is trying to conjure? Well, first off, jobs.
They suggesting he's in the Ku Klux Klan.
What the hell is that?
Is it the Scandi version of the Adele single?
I had a very embarrassing moment in Sweden as a
Did you?
clergyman, yeah. I was over for work stuff, seeing some people, and they said, do you want to come round later? I said, yeah, sure. And so we went round, and then we all had to have a sauna together. And I found myself with these strangers, completely naked in a sauna, and we had to thrash ourselves with birch twigs. And I said to John Whittingdale, I don't know about you,
I have a vision of you entirely naked, but with a dog collar.
standards must be maintained.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does give the possibility that there could be a sleeper train called the Shag, doesn't it, if he'd followed through?
Are you sure you're cut out to be a vigor?
You seem to be fighting something. That's just what the bishop said to me in the last email. But there we go. It's you, because you trigger in me a Jimmy Somerville reaction. And it brings out the sweary, preordained Richard Cole. I can't help it.
Oh, I feel I'm there to be put behind you. Not in that way, I was really...
Jimmy was never behind anyone.
And on the outskirts of Cambridge, a technology company unveils its robot simulation of the final stages of Eddie Izzard's 27th marathon.
Very accurate there. I think there's 5 stamps. I think there's 4 of the heads and then 1 of that little stack that he's standing on.
They're just old photo cases, I think. I mean, literally, the photographer hadn't thought beforehand, so he improvised.
So it hadn't occurred to him that George might be shorter than the other people. And it was a surprise. It's like, oh my gosh. You look a lot bigger in the official photos. I had no idea. What horrible pressure on the Queen there. You've got a picture of her head now next to a picture of her head when she was a lot younger. I mean, it feels a bit harsh, doesn't it?
It's the sort of thing the Daily Mail would do. Hasn't she aged badly? 1957, she looked a lot younger.
Oh, they've lost it.
Oh, no, they've lost the number
9 is
9.
gone. That's why the lady was running. She's lost
Oh, I
the number
thought she was
9.
running at Carol. I felt so bad there.
Oh, is she going to get it
she's
back?
running after her
I don't
balloon.
rate her chances very well. Will it land? It's coming back down.
It is. It's...
Well, it is a problem for royal commentators because they've been doing the same programme for 50 years.
Yeah.
A lot of time to fill.
A lot of time to fill and very, very little to say.
So the balloon went off and went, holy shit, we've got 20 minutes out of it. Let's see how this pans out. Tuck in. We could do a spin-off special on this one.
How did German magazine Der Spiegel celebrate the Queen's birthday? They put a touching tribute on their front page. There we go,
It was an article specially commissioned by Prince Charles.
George Osborne put out this massive dossier with, like, loads of equations and dummy variables and all of this crap.
Let's have a look at that equation.
Who, you know, if you're trying to get somebody on side to an argument, you don't use algebra. That's not the real one, is it? That's what people hate in the real equation.
That is the equation that George Osborne unveiled. So, Eddie, you're pro-EU. Who is your unlikely ally? It emerged this week.
Oh, I don't know. Well, this is a thing. This is a thing. I thought you were just talking to me. Can I just say something? Are you doing the secretary glasses on and off thing? Because you keep taking...
No, do you know what it is?
What?
Because I'm too short-sighted to read an auto cue, but I can't then see that. Do you know, no, actually, I'm not going to say that. Time now for the odd one out round.
Sorry, I'm not the only one that's intrigued about what you were going to say.
Yeah, I want to know that.
I think I explained this once before, but when I didn't think the show was being recorded, and then they put it on the end. But it was when I bought my glasses. That's what I said to the optician, because I was nervous about getting glasses. They make me look, I said I want the sort of glasses that a librarian would wear in a porn film. I said to a sort of 57-year-old Bangladeshi optician. He went, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, he's probably never been to a library.
Well, he chose well.
It is definitely time for the odd one out round.
This is a box that when you switch it on, I think something comes out of that door and switches it off.
Shall we have a look?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's great, isn't it?
I like that. I think that's very good. I thought it would be...
that for the nuclear button, couldn't they?
So how did Ken Livingstone bog it this week? If I'm using it in the right context.
He came out in defence of someone that the party have now suspended.
Naz Shah, who's an MP, yeah?
Naz Shah, who made some rather unfortunate anti-Semitic posts. But as she said, it was way back in 2014. Which is, you know, a
That's
world away.
Like
it's like 1932.
Century. No, absolutely. There he is, nipping into one. And he was in there for 20 minutes while journalists shouted questions about Hitler at him.
He's got terribly long legs, you know.
Who? Ken Livingstone.
Yeah, we met him once. I met him. I said to him, you've got disproportionately long legs. And it's a true story. And he said, I know.
He probably thought this is the weirdest chat-up line I've ever had. Actually, Tim Peake, he broke a world record for running a marathon in space. Why did this lady, Betty Barker, think Tim Peake was drunk last Christmas Eve? He called her from the space station by mistake after getting the wrong number on his space phone when he was trying to call home.
Oh. She was lucky there was a photographer there to capture the moment.
Well, Betty Barker thought he was a drunken reveller looking for a good time. She's optimistic, old Betty Barker, isn't she? And she said, he just said, hello, is that planet Earth? So I said no, which I suppose is technically incorrect. And she said, I thought it was someone looking to go to a nightclub called Planet Earth, so I hung up.
It's quite picky.
It is a bit.
Extraterrestrials may have been trying to contact us for decades. But they speak to the wrong people.
Betty Barker fucked it up. Anyway, the village of Melathiru Venkata Nathapuram in India.
That's
Thank you.
Is that the place that's got a railway station where they say, we're here?
J.K. Rowling said that she'd named Harry Potter's Hermione after a character in...
Winter's Tale?
Yes, very good. She said a lot of people in America pronounce it Hermy One.
A lot of people in America. That sounds very scientific, yeah. I used to think that Penelope was pronounced Penelope.
Me too.
The word discotheque has long disappeared, but a friend of mine thought it was discotheque. Mind you, another friend of mine thought that doing was pronounced doing.
Oh, hang on, David Tennant, isn't that you?
I was Richard II, not Richard III.
Just being pedantic, I
Yeah.
think. Well, you do rather resemble the statue of Richard III.
Really?
Yes.
I don't own a hat like that.
No.
And will there be a film?
Yes.
Are you in it, David?
Not yet.
Vardy. I only learnt his name yesterday. Vardy. I did a lot of work before this thing.
Did you? Is that how you refer to this programme? This thing?
Yeah. I thought football's coming up. I really need to know my stuff. So I know why they won.
Yes.
4-4-2.
Oh, really?
Tell us about that, Ian. Tell us about 442.
Well, you've got, here we go, 10 players together.
Uh-huh.
4 of them are in one bit.
Yeah.
4 of them in another, and 2 right over there in another bit.
What did Trump's rival Ted Cruz do immediately after conceding defeat?
Punched his wife in the face, didn't he?
Did he? Not once, but twice.
What?
Let's
No.
have a look. What is being sold at Donald Trump rallies that's causing particular offence?
Anti-Hillary Clinton messages?
Yes. Do you know what they are?
Kill the bitch sort of thing. I'm quoting what he's doing.
Yeah.
I'm not making him own myself.
Bollywood fan, so anything with a Bollywood theme, I will lap it up.
You say you're a Bollywood fan. Do you have a favourite actor or a favourite Bollywood film?
Oh no, you're gonna. I wouldn't be able to. No, I'm not going to give you one. I can't think of a favourite.
Think of a single Bollywood film or actor.
I can't think of a favourite. I love almost everything about Bollywood. I love the atmosphere. I love the colour. I love the excitement. I want as much Bollywood as possible here in London.
I love him trying to coast it. It's that Boris thing. Nothing.
Boris Johnson's term as mayor of our capital city has come to an end after 8 years. So let's take the opportunity to look back at his time in office with a goodbye Boris buzzer round. Ian.
Going for the Bollywood vote.
Yes, Ian.
That's Boris having trouble with his zip. Thank you. He got trapped on a zip wire.
Yes.
And anybody else, it would have been the end of his career. But with Boris, everyone went, look, he's got stuck on a zip.
So, let's fire up the Newsatron.
That looks like the cheapest prop from Doctor Who.
Oh, we had cheaper ones than this. BBC also released a Doctor Who version of Operation, where you operate on a Dalek. Wish I'd had a cut of that. I could be doing Shakespeare tonight instead of this shit.
It wasn't shit before you got here.
Labour has to be a big tent that appeals to everyone. To which Jeremy Corbyn quickly responded, "We have a very big tent. It's an enormous tent. It's just that everybody else is outside pissing into it."
So what are we saying? They want us all to go camping with them. Because I ain't sharing a tent with Diane Abbott. I don't know about you.
Hasn't bothered me in the past.
Are these Scottish Tories? I can see some ginger hair. No offence.
Is that the first time anyone said no offence to Frankie Boyle?
None taken. Let's have a look at a block of flats being demolished in Glasgow, as seen through the camera lens of one excited onlooker.
Is the wolf wearing something in the sort of nether regions? There seems to be something. What is like a thong?
He's wearing these other blokes' underpants.
He's naked and the wolf's wearing a thong.
Yeah, that's what's going on there.
The Eurovision knows its audience.
On his way to Crufts, one impatient driver gets stuck in a traffic jam. So let's find out how the teams line up. Captain Ian Hislop plays on the right if the government's on the left, and on the left if the government's on the right. And their opponents tonight. Captain Paul Merton, like Jamie Vardy, who started off in an amateur steelworkers team. Paul kicked off his career with a CSE in metalwork.
Imagine if Boris becomes Prime Minister and Trump becomes President. Can you imagine just on a windy day what that's going to look like? It's just going to be like... just swirling.
Watch how Boris deals with this cameraman. Here you go. Yes, he is burning a cheque for £350 million in a furnace, which is what Man United may as well have done this season. It's supposed to represent the amount we
explain that to those two. They've got no idea.
No, we'll pick it up.
It's football.
Yeah, it's the Alan Shearer joke.
No.
Very funny. No, it's
There was a thing, wasn't it, with that Leicester lot, wasn't it? They did well, didn't they?
Well, as you mention it, they did all right.
Yeah. I didn't watch the parade on telly. I followed it on the internet. You could track Danny Simpson's tag just online. Just people getting off doing community service.
Yeah.
Tricky.
Just as well where you come from, innit?
Oh, there we go.
Anyway, back to business.
Your crisps are shit.
Where were we? Yes, Ian,
we were just raising the level of the debate.
Indeed.
But, you know, it's always nice to watch an old woman in very heavy clothing.
Yeah.
You know, it's always a bit of fun, isn't it? Put a massive, heavy thing on her and a big crown.
Yeah.
And then, go on, love, get up them stairs. It's a sort of like a sparkly, it's a knockout.
Was that the King of Bahrain?
No, King of Bahrain. I thought it was Super Mario. I thought he was just, he thought there was a princess in danger.
That photograph does look like she's holding up a face of him, doesn't it?
Let's see what the odious megalomaniac had to say to the possible future president.
We have a new mayor of London, Sadiq Khan. He's the first Muslim mayor.
Congratulations.
He's been quite critical of you, as you know. Are you offended by what he says?
Yeah, I am, because he doesn't know me, never met me, doesn't know what I'm all about.
He called me this because he didn't know me, and Trump had suggested that all Muslims in the entire world were terrorists. Did he know them? Had he met them all?
Why was Moses Kamara particularly upset by the bomb scare?
Oh, because he travelled from Sierra Leone or somewhere like that. He travelled from...
One of Manchester United's more local fans.
Yeah. Bloody hell. They might get relegated next year. That'd be funny, wouldn't it?
Don't you have to present without your clothes on?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
She's very keen.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Why don't you ever just bet on things like, I'll give you a £5 if...
But are you actually going to do it?
Yeah.
Well, you'll have to wait and see, won't you?
Here's an idea. Why don't you get that fat bloke to stand in front of you? Just do that.
Perfect. Queen spotted in what?
Dick.
What?
It's one of those recipes.
Queen... Well, I think you want to clear that one up. We're not talking about Princess Margaret here, you know.
That's the knighthood gone, here's what.
Phew.
And as speculation continues over TV football presenters appearing in just their underwear, Jose Mourinho joins the debate.
The exchange rate mechanism, we're in it, but do we want to be in it? 20 years ago, we go into the office one day, and the markets seem to think we don't want to be in it. Well, as the day goes on, we find the markets are acting against us. We put up the interest rates from 9% to 10%, to 11% to 12%, to 13%, up to 50%. Nothing is happening. We're banging the top of the screen. The point is, at the beginning of the day, we didn't...
I can't stand the tension. What happens? What happens at the end of the day, Giles? What happens?
The point is, at the beginning of the day, we didn't know what was going to happen.
No.
While it was happening, we didn't know what was happening.
No.
And when it had happened, we didn't know what had happened. When I was a politician, I used to agree with the last person I'd met. And that always I found was the way forward. And there was a referendum before you were even born, in 1975, and our leader then was a man called Edward Heath. He was the last person I met that time.
So you agreed with him that time?
So I agreed with him this time.
Mrs. Thatcher at that time said we must go in.
Yes. Nobody knows anything. Even Mrs. Thatcher. Even...
Oh, Giles, this is blasphemy.
I know, it is.
I don't feel like I've seen a coherent argument from anyone.
You haven't.
I'm really confused.
You should be.
What should I do, Giles?
Go back to Canada. You don't... Because we will all be joining you, because we will be forced out of our country by the tens of millions, the hundreds of millions who are going to arrive here any minute, the moment the borders come down.
We'll be travelling, escaping, roaming.
Please don't come to Canada. With Trump, we already have Americans threatening to come in, and we've got to now build a wall. Americans are not as physically fit as Mexicans. It won't have to be a high wall, just a little... A speed bump should do it.
So what is the story about these people?
The rumour is that she is going to be Donald Trump's running mate.
Ooh.
It's hot. It's a hot story.
It's hot because you've just made it up. So if her and Donald Trump are together and somebody says, what an arse, we don't know which one they're talking about.
That's it. Trump and the rump. You can see the posters.
You can see the posters, you can.
There's already a TV series at the minute, which just finished on BBC Two, and that is the trial...
What, with them in it?
...of O.J. Simpson. Well, Kim Kardashian's father was one of the men responsible for getting O.J. off, and then he died of cancer. And then...
The nearest we get to the Kardashians is the Crankies. A Scottish, you won't know them, it's a Scottish family.
I know the Crankies.
You know the Crankies?
Why do you talk to me like I was just born? I've lived over 10 years.
Oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't realise that.
It's all right. I like it, kind of.
Good, well, we love that. We're very, very happy to have you, and I'm sure the Brexiteers and the Remain people will make exceptions in your case.
Yes. As I am an Irish citizen. Go on.
You're an Irish citizen?
I am, but it's for another day, Giles. We'll have lunch.
Now I've heard that...
You don't know what you're saying. You've no idea. The trap opens up and the poor innocent walks in.
This is just a selfie.
She's got a lovely bathroom.
I'm intrigued by the bathroom equipment.
Yes. Beautiful bathroom.
We're getting a new bath.
It's very dangerous that young girls might see this photo and follow suit, like I did in my own bathroom.
You've got a bidet. You know, after the referendum, bidet is a continental thing. They'll be out.
I thought it was a drinking fountain.
Yeah.
Not a member of a club yourself, old boy?
I'm a member of a couple of clubs.
Tell us.
Is it the Alzheimer's League?
I was just wondering which ones to admit to.
You're not a Freemason, are you?
No.
You
having a stroke, Giles?
The star of The Revenant takes a stroll around the grounds of his recently purchased Beverly Hills mansion.
Because I keep seeing them say this £350 million a week. That's all I'm seeing. Is that how much
it costs to be in the
No,
EU?
because that doesn't include the rebate or what they
It's a
spend.
lie. That's what's
Nearly all the
confusing
nearly all. Yeah.
This voice of yours, Ian, I really like it. It's good. Do you take requests? Are there certain sentences you'll say in this voice?
Anything you like. What category are you in then?
I was just second from hostile, penultimate hostile.
Right, what's that called?
Naughty.
Core group negative.
Core
group negative. Yeah.
Sounds like a disease.
First symptoms, hoarseness of voice.
Yeah.
Why are there 12 stars on the EU flag?
Is that how many times we've won the World Cup?
You have to press your button. Jason?
It's us. It's us.
What? Oh, sorry. That's one of the things they test you when you go into university. Can you spot a light coming on?
I was looking over there. I didn't know there was lights.
It's nice in the winter months, though.
Merton.
Or do I have to go like this?
He wasn't a Merton. Merton, life.
Yeah.
This is the allegations about Tory election expenses. The alleged electoral... that's quite hard to say, actually.
Electoral?
No, the alleged
Electoral.
electoral.
Oh, the alleged
Electoral.
Oh, if I say it properly, it's easier.
What my advice is, drop the alleged.
There are loads of great names. Buzz, if you can tell me the occupation of the following people. These are all genuine. Les McBurney.
Fireman.
Yes, from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Bath Toothman.
Plumber. Dentist.
Very good, dentist. Mark DeMann.
Rapper.
Professional
killer.
He's a footballer. Ian, of course, you get that. Yeah, he's
the
a
full name.
he's Belgian.
Mark DeMann, a defender, I would guess.
Yes.
Wait a minute. There's something strange going on here.
Yes.
Ian Hislop's voice isn't quite the same as it normally is. And the Ian Hislop I know knows nothing about football.
Right, it's Ross Kemp in an Ian Hislop suit.
Leave it out.
And I leave you with news that at London Zoo, the vet begins a round of prostate examinations. What is that animal?
Bush baby, maybe?
It's an aye-aye.
Aye.
Oh, is it?
That's a noise it makes when you stick a finger out.
Aye, aye.